we love food, colored green, bell peppers and long string beans, pickles, celery, cucumbers too. All these foods are good for you.
Welcome to Storytime Cooks as we learn about food through books. Today we're reading Curious George Goes to School. And guess what? It is that time of year. School is starting. I really don't know very many monkeys who go to school, but this is a fun story and hopefully one that you will enjoy. It is by Margaret and H.A. Rays, and this is published by Coffin Milton Company in Boston. It was open house at George's school, so the man with the yellow hat had come to school with George. And there he is. He's got on his bright yellow hat and his yellow pants and his yellow shirt. "I want to speak to your teacher," the man said. "Wait for me, George, and don't get into trouble." Do you think little monkeys ever get into trouble? We'll find out. George was standing in front of the art room. He opened the door and he peeked inside. Mr. Williams, the art teacher, was cleaning up. "Hello, George," he said. "My students will be coming by with their parents today to show them their work." Art was always one of my most favorite subjects. So much fun. You can do art at home if you're not in school, or you can do art at home when you get home from school. There's just all different kinds of art that you can do. The walls of the art room were covered with the students' paintings. There's pictures all over the room. There were paintings of dancers and farmers and race car drivers and ice skaters. You can paint anything that you would like to paint. Just have to be creative. On the wall was a chart with the names of all the children. Each name had a yellow star beside it except for Alice's name. It says Art, A-R-T. David has a star, Susan has a star, Rick, Alan, Donald, they all have stars, but Alice doesn't have a star. "Poor Alice," said Mr. Williams. "She said she left her painting on my desk, but I can't find it." "Here, George, why don't you paint a picture while you wait for your friend?" George began to paint, and he's actually painting with green paint. There are so many different colors of paint, and if you don't have the color you want, you can mix them together and make your own. "Keep painting, George," said Mr. Williams. "I'll be right back." And off he went. George kept painting, but it was starting to get very warm in the room. It's been very warm where we live as well. And George decided he was going to turn on the fan. That would cool him off. But as soon as he turned it on, oh no, the fan blew the paintings off the walls and all over the room. There are pictures everywhere. "George," cried Mr. Williams, running into the room, "look what you have done." George might be getting into trouble. Mr. Williams turned off the fan. "You better help me get this all cleaned up, George," he said, because those parents were coming in to see the art projects. George picked up papers off the floor. Some were under the desk. It's a good thing he was little. He could crawl right under that desk and get them. One was stuck between the desk and the wall. See, there's a painting right there. When George pulled it out, it was covered with dust. It had been there for a long time. That's interesting. Wonder what that picture was. It was a painting of a little girl riding a horse. "That's Alice's painting," cried Mr. Williams. "Now I can give Alice a star." I'm glad George found it before her parents came in. When the paintings were all hanging on the walls again and the students and their parents arrived, there was Alice's painting, and there was George's painting right beside it. And George painted a palm tree with a little monkey beside it. That sounds like something a monkey would paint. "Now, Alice, had a gold star next to her name. "Thank you for finding my painting, George," said Alice. "I like your painting too, and I think you should have a gold star." And guess what? He got a gold star too from Mr. Williams. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about apples. Remember, apples grow on a tree. Some apples are red. This one's a little bit more yellow. This one's green. But one of the fun things that we can do with apples is to actually cut them in half. And when we do, guess what's inside? A star, just like Curious George had pinned on him. So if we took some yellow paint, we could put paint on a plate, stick our apple in it, and then stamp it on a piece of white paper, and you would have gold stars as well. Actually, you would have gold circles with a white star in the middle, because the star doesn't have anything on it, but it would make a pretty star. Food is really fun to play with. You can do food art, and you can also use it in art projects. But just remember, when you're using or eating fruits and vegetables, to make sure we wash them first. And we probably are not going to want to eat the things that we use for art projects. So think about ways that you could maybe use some fruits and vegetables or other food items, not only to help keep us healthy, but also to have some fun with. We hope you'll come back and join us next week for Storytime Cooks, where we continue to learn about food through books.
We love food colored green, bell peppers and long string beans.